And I'm going to cover 3 points. First of all, I present our clinical group. Secondly, I describe EMDR and its international scientific support. And finally, a new method and the first research related, created for anyone who works in a clinical setting, but especially for psychologists. I hope that you will especially see the practical usefulness of this methodology for study and for clinical research. I have given this methodology my name. And this is our group, Institute of Holistic Medicine San Lorenzo from Milan, Italy. The director of our group is Dr. Roberto Fagioli, Martino Gianazza is the odontologist, and Dario Fossati the osteopath, and Paolo Revolfato the orthoptic, and I'm psychologist. I'm responsible for psychotherapy, especially psicoterapia non convenzionale, unconventional psychotherapy, that I created is a new therapy, a brief focused therapy specific for integrative medicine. Now let's look at EMDR. In unconventional psychotherapy, we use, among other things, EMDR. It's an acronym for eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing, and is a technique that uses eye movement or other types or right-left rhythmic stimulation to treat trauma, and in particular post-traumatic stress disorder. Scientific research shows that EMDR is supported empirically and evidence-based for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Let's look at the guideline for EMDR efficacy, and in particular in PTSD treatment. The most important bodies in the world, in USA, the American Psychological Association, the American Psychiatric Association, and the International Society for Traumatic Stress Studies. And in United Kingdom, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, and the National Health Service. And finally, the World Health Organization, that as early as the year 2013 stated that EMDR is an effective treatment of trauma and related disorders. We can also see that research on EMDR is so crucial, scientifically approved, but always very, very invasive. Many instruments are being used, EEG, electroencephalogram, magnetic resonance of the brain, and in general, the aim is functional neuroimaging to measure cerebral blood flow. This connects to my third point. Why we search for a new method, more simple and non-invasive to do research on EMDR. And I'm going to talk about this method and 2 simple variables. La velocidad con la que una mujer responde nada cuando preguntamos qué pasa es inversamente proporcional a la magnitud de la tormenta que te está por caer encima. When a woman is angry, time and words are fundamental. They are also important when a stimulation causes a reaction. With this in mind, we can study this situation, but with EMDR. The reactivity levels in subject behavior are reaction speed and verbal production. Let's look at these 2 levels. So latency time measures reaction speed. How many seconds pass between the end of eye movements and when the person begins to speak? A number of words measures verbal production. How many words does the subject say? Quantitative measurement or reactivity levels following EMDR ocular stimulation to study EMDR as a simple associative stimulus without trauma. This means that the concept of trauma is not so important when researching reactivity levels in EMDR. And this method is very simple and non-invasive for the subject. We just need a simple recorder with a timer. No electrodes, no electromagnetic fields, none of that. This method was created during research of our group on corpus callosum functioning, and the findings were presented a year ago at the 19th EMDR Europe Conference 2018 in Strasbourg, and the title was The Benefit of the Occlusal and Postural Disorders Rehabilitation to the Corpus Callosum Functioning, with Dr. Roberto Fagioli, doctor and posturologist, Martino Gianazza, odontologist and posturologist, and I, psychologist. And now, the current development of this research, it's a new research. These were the characteristics of our pilot research. Study population, 20 subjects, 50% male and 50% female. Age 21 to 40, 41 to 60, patients at the Institute of Holistic Medicine San Lorenzo. And the selection criteria, postural problems or occlusion diagnosis at the institute. So the other things, examined variables, and in particular diagnosis, experimental group with an intervening variable, and the intervening variable is a temporary organic reset, postural, metabolic, and endocrine reset, and control group without temporary organic reset. The two data analysis criteria are possible: longitudinal on one subject at two different moments, and transversal evaluation of different variables, for example, sex, age, etc. This first table is the experimental group data. The second table is the control group data without temporary organic reset. As you can see from the first table, the verbal reaction to EMDR improve at the end of the first table. In experimental group, latency time decreases and number of words increases. So the results. Results 1. Improvement in verbal reaction to EMDR in both longitudinal and transversal analysis. 2. The verbal reaction to EMDR improves following organic reset. So the organic reset has a key role, keeping all the other variables unchanged. The variation observed appear to be caused by organic reset. After reset, the subject in organic, postural, metabolic, and endocrine equilibrium talks immediately and more than before. This is possibly improved by better communication between the two half-brain through the corpus callosum. And 3, reduction of EMDR verbal reactivity. If I repeat EMDR on the same subject without reset, the verbal reactivity effect decreases. Without equilibrium, without reset, the subject speaks late and less. So I reached the end of my presentation. That's all I wanted to say about the many benefits of this method. This slide shows the concrete benefits for research, for patient subject, for doctors, and especially psychologists. So the ease of application, non-invasiveness, saving time and saving money, quantitative data, rapidity and versatility of the data, and usable for psychologists. Muchas gracias por su atención. Muchas gracias por la vostra atención. And for question and communication, you can write to me at this email. This is my email address. Thank you.